asked her to come to the meeting and answer any questions if you guys had them, or fill some gaps on any information I may have left out. So I think it might be easiest maybe to start off with questions you guys have specifically that maybe she can answer, more so than what the information I presented had, if there are any. And this is William, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm not sure what William's capacity is.
I'm just her husband and
Oh.
support.
Okay, all right, well, there we go.
Long enough ride that's on it.
That's,
So
yeah, conversation.
Yes,
is a big
muscle,
deal.
absolutely.
Okay. Cheyenne, do you have anything maybe you can add or elaborate on, I guess, other than what was in that proposal as far as, it was just the straightforward information that you had sent. I don't know that there's much more there.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the information is pretty straightforward. All of the numbers are there. The payoff would be within 7 to 10 years. We are the only service provider, as far as I'm aware, in Wyoming that offers a lifetime insurance policy on our systems, which is included in your guys' quote, which means any issues with panels, outages, stuff like that, we would bring out a service technician, take care of it for you. Wouldn't be any out of pocket for service calls, diagnostics fees, stuff like that. And we also are, as far as I'm aware again, the most competitive tier 1 panel supplier in Wyoming. So,
All right, thank you.
absolutely.
Does anyone have any questions?
The only question I've got is, so you talk about lifetime warranty kind of thing. What is the average life cycle of these type of supplies? Realizing you're gonna replace them at some point, but
Yeah, absolutely. So on average, solar panels last between 25 and 30 years. If you had batteries, those tend to have a 100% failure rate within 20 years, but you guys would not be having batteries from what I saw. And yeah, but again, with the lifetime warranty, it stays on the property. As long as the system stays on the property, you are covered.
okay, so it's not a lifetime locked into, like, you know, all those things you buy, it's the person. But in our case, because it's the town
Yep,
and the
and
facilities,
it'll
so
be
as long as the
connected to the
facility's
land
up and
itself.
running, it continues that
Mhm.
warranty.
And then if you guys decide to sell it later on, there is a small documentation fee and they can actually retain that lifetime warranty. So,
And is that lifetime warranty only guaranteed through your company, or what happens if in 10 years, Next Gen decides they want to be Next Gen 2 and we're a different company?
that's a great question because it does actually very commonly happen in the solar industry. Our insurance policy is through one of the top insurance providers. It's not Allstate, but it's similar and adjacent. And as long as they're in business, which they've been in business for 40 plus years, it will be honored. And I believe it is backed by one more company after that. So there is contingency upon contingency, plenty of redundancy to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks.
Thank you.
I think the added expense was roughly $2,500, maybe give or take a little bit. I don't have that number right there either. Difference between the lifetime and the 30 years. So
William knows.
An important thing to add to that as well is that Next Gen Energy is a relatively new name for her boss's company. He overtook the holdings from a different company he worked for in the past out in Gillette, and all of their contracts are still being honored through this and their insurance as well. So the name change specifically has already happened and has not caused any issues for their prior clients. In fact, we recently dealt with one of the prior clients in Casper that had issues, and under the new brand, we took care of it for them.
And since I live in Casper, I am just a phone call and a hop, skip, and away, maybe 45 minutes or so. But I am happy to take care of whatever needs taken care of.
Right. So you're the field rep also?
Yes,
All right.
I am the Wyoming Territory Operations Manager.
That's great. It's pretty awesome. Maybe that place too. Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to ask?
That's all I had.
Okay, thank you for coming out. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's really something that we're really serious about.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to officers' report. You folks don't have to stay through the rest of this if you don't want to.
I'm happy to.
Yeah,
Honestly, I have a great interest in these kinds of things. I've not had a chance to sit in on very many of them,
Well,
but especially in such a small, intimate setting as this, that holds a lot of interest for me. See how it plays out and how it works.
Larry from the Head Start Policy Council website.
Yeah, sure.
All right, well, thank you for coming. All right, maintenance report, Jeannie? Would you like to iterate your maintenance report here a little bit?
Unlike Mr. Sabasco's belief that I'm late to everything, maintenance reports only came this late today. So, you were even on time, Mike, and I appreciate that.
That was just, I didn't
Um,
think-
Nothing fantastic. Continuing to work with the summer help. We've got the second round of violation letters for weeds and grasses that have gone out. You guys should have got those in your mailbox. They'll be,
Actually, they have them in
oh,
there.
tonight? Okay. They'll be moved on next week. Give the people 3 days and a long weekend, or and a weekend to try to get their things in order. We did receive information back on BLM permit for Moses Field. Like I explained before, with BLM, we submit once and they resubmit back to us explaining what we need to do different the second time, and there might be a third and fourth. So this is only the first time back, but a very detailed information from a new field specialist, so we can get work on that, resubmit that and get that lease renewed. I have a little bit of work left up to the horse corrals. We did some mowing out there, again, just adjacent to the roads and the corrals that were occupied for now. Most of the cleanup was done last year, and through the fall time, there's still just a little bit of debris that we're gonna try to get scooped up there here in the next week or two. Start some painting, we'll be doing crosswalks, touching up any fire hydrants, marking posts, things of that nature around town that need it, ramps, things of that nature around town, around the building as well. On the water side, we're just still working on some joint powers issues. Have some deadlines coming up. We'll have to get some work done on some tanks. We plan to do that ourselves, and we'll meet the deadline there. The only other item to touch on, I guess, would be the gas plant solar project. If we want to pursue that, if we want to pursue that with or without the lifetime warranty, it does add a little bit for lifetime on a 30-year panel. 30 years is a long time, you know, but looking ahead, what will the cost of replacement be in 30 years compared to the price of that plan now? So I guess I'd like it for it to be up for discussion and maybe a decision made tonight if you guys are prepared to. So we can get that rolling if the time should be.
We talked about the financial feasibility of purchasing it, which we have in the budget, correct? Am I right?
I don't think we talked about that, did we, Jimmy?
We just discussed it, Bert and I did, and then I brought it up with the council individually. I believe that in your sewer reserve account, the balance is available there. With the work that we've done at the lift station, I don't believe taking this much out of the reserve account now would put us in a bind as far as new pumps, new controller out there, and that unit itself is 25 years old. So it's aging, but it has new parts in the last 5 years, so we should be good there. Sewer reserve balance, Bert, remind me, was
81.5.
81,000. Even if we take the amount with warranty, still puts us in okay shape to do any kind of repairs that we may have. I don't think there's a risk in that as far as if that's where you guys chose to withdraw the money from.
Do we wanna make a motion on that?
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, yeah, and where you would be taking that out of needs specifics. So, sorry I did not put your motion in there, but
I would like to ask, is there any camera projects scheduled for this summer for the water sewer lines?
For the sewer lines, yes, that's every year. And
that's in the operating,
It's
the
that-
regular, yeah.
yeah, that one's included in the wastewater in the sewer R&M budget.
Okay.
What we chose to do on the water side, Mandy, was not include water repairs in the regular day-to-day budget, and if we have an exceedance, we'll just ask for rollover from that reserve account to cover the costs at the end of the year, because we don't know, knock on wood. 0 would be great, but, you know, we're up to 2, so you don't know. But on the wastewater side, Pace Construction will be here, to sewer excuse me, the clean and camera lines, later in the summer.
And
Correct.
I'm gonna try and make this a little more, understanding. It would not be a rollover, it would just be a check out of the reserve account to pay for that. So, there is no rollover into the general budget.
I misspoke on that.
That's okay.
So is there a motion to be made?
I'll make the motion to accept the purchase of the solar system, with the warranty.
I'll second it.
Is there any other discussion on this? And where the money is coming from?
Oh, from the, what did I say, sewer
Reserve
reserve,
account.
there we go, sewer reserve account. I think there was another part I was missing.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion is carried. All right. Thank you for coming. Jamie, you have anything else?
I do not, unless you guys have questions, I'm sure.
I'd like to address, Jamie, if you're okay with it. Just a couple of things. There was a Salt Creek Days meeting last night, and Michaela's running that program and asked me to reach out to you on a couple of things, just simple things.
Okay.
They're gonna actually hold the Sunday brunchin, potluck at the rec center.
Oh.
So, she asked if you can look at getting those boards on that back deck more even. I guess some of them stand up an inch or so, kind of offset, so if somebody's shuffling, you're gonna have a lot of older people because of the reunion going on also.
Okay.
So if you might be able to tack those down or something.
Sure. Yeah,
And
I'm sure.
I don't know if
that's-
you know what I'm talking about, but if you go there, you can just kind of see the
Yeah.
boards. Some, maybe about a dozen of them look like they're offset. And then I don't know if you had a chance to have somebody come out and look at that air conditioning, because that would also be another issue.
Yes. I didn't include that in the maintenance report, it's kind of daily coverage stuff. Air Innovations was out this last week. We've got a bad compressor on one, a failing compressor, and a bad relay on the other. Which means they were gonna order parts, and I should have got a quote today, and I didn't, in fact, so I will reach out to them tomorrow. So, yes, the one unit will suffice until it gets about 95 degrees, and then that's when you really need the others complemented. So, it was not uncomfortable in there yesterday. I didn't go there today, but parts are on order, is what I understand from Air Innovations, and they'll install them when they come in. And as far as the back deck, Tracy and I had looked at the back deck last year, late fall, late summer or something, and it is on the list. We get some people down there and we'll get that addressed.
Yeah, I think it should be easy
It's
fix.
kind of it'll be an easy temporary fix.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
wasn't constructed the wisest way. It looks like it was done a little bit different than maybe should have been for that
Is-
use.
Is it composite decking, or is
Yeah.
it?
It is, yeah. And the other thing I did forget to mention, bringing up Salt Creek Days in general, working on getting a sweeper out here, an enclosed cab sweeper. Will offer Edgerton to coincide with us if they can organize it in their time frame, so we can rent the unit once, hopefully, and both towns use it. Divvy up the bill according to hours used, or however that works out. Hopefully in 2 weeks is what we're looking for. The guy's looking for the unit now, and we've got the credit application process with them. So general cleanup, Salt Creek Days all kind of goes together, and we'll try to get that loose debris up off the street. May not get to the parking areas this year. That might have to be a second project later on, but at least we'll attack the loose gravel at the intersections in mid-walk.
I just have one more thing. I'm not sure if this should be in their maintenance or in councilman report, so I'm gonna give it to you now. I've been approached by a couple of residents about the truckers that run down Fitzhugh, running their Jake brakes,
Okay.
their engine brakes or whatever. Is there a way that we can look into having signage put up there not to use those? I realize it's just a mitigation issue, they'll probably not read them anyway, but is there something we can get out there?
Sure. Two approaches on that. One is put up a sign and hope for compliance. Second, pass an ordinance that prevents it with some legal background. But at this point, you don't necessarily have anybody to enforce that, but hopefully you will in the future. So we can try a sign and try the courtesy method if that's what you guys would like. Legally, to enforce it in the future, you would need to have an ordinance preventing it of engine compression brakes, used in town limits or something. So however you guys choose to ask us to move, we can get some signs put up as well.
We'll look into the signs and see what it's gonna cost, if you would.
Okay, sure. You can do that. What, out of curiosity, what company, do we have a company name or anybody?
I don't have anybody, they just said that the trucks go through there and they're loud because of their Jake brakes.
Yeah, that speed limit is 25. I can't imagine much of a compression muffler 25, but maybe so.
I'm only a house off the street and I don't notice it, but I have a very solid
Sure.
house too.
And it's a designated truck route.
What's that?
It's a designated truck route.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
so there's not much we can do about it except kinda ask politely. And I thought signage might be the way to go.
Check in, price and some signs and get it out to you guys and see what you think there.
Thanks.
Okay.
Is there anything else for Jamie? Okay, thank you, Jamie. Is there a course report for Jamie?
The only thing I have that I'd like you guys to know is that the 3 lots that you approved to allow for the purchase of last week, or last council meeting, have been paid for. It's a done deal.
Very good. Anything else, Bert?
Nope.
Mayor's report, and I don't have anything for this evening either. Do we have an attorney's report?
No, sir.
Police code enforcement report? We don't have. Council member report? Nothing there. Unfinished business, community improvement. Do we have anything on that this evening? Okay, no one here. Let's move to new business. Do we have a motion to accept the vouchers presented for payment this evening?
I move to accept the voucher presented for payment.
Second?
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Thank you all for coming. At this time, we're going to open the floor for any public comment. Michael?
Of course. A couple of things. I'm still representing the town of Midwest in the Travel and Tourism Board. I speak to Rick about if there's any, the lady who's running the travel and tourism now, I've seen 2 other people. This lady is extremely detailed oriented. I mean, she's really bright, she's very competent. The first person that we had here was a county commissioner and she was a star. She did her job. The guy who came after her was also good, but this woman is incredible. I mean, I've been in public policy for 20 years and she's really something. So that was nice. There was something last night that I went to, that's why I missed the meeting. But I just wanted to let you know I'm still representing the town and I'm actually going to, they're having a board training, and since I've been there so long, I've forgotten everything at my age, including the time of the meetings. Which gets to another question, time of the meetings. Has there been a change at the time of the city council meetings?
No, it's 5:30.
I
That's
told
right.
you that when you called today.
Well, I just wanted to ask the city council. I'm not gonna get into any personal stuff, I'm probably gonna lose the job I have now because of federal cutbacks the end of August, and I'll be back in the oil field, so you better watch out. And that gets to the second point, third point. There was some kid going down Lewis Street, and if he was going 45 or 50, he was really tooling, so it'd be really nice if we could get some enforcement out there. I also saw Mark Chapman, but he looked like he was going fast, but another really little bike, and he's really, really big, so I don't think he was going that fast. But this kid really was speeding, so that was problematic. And a question to Jamie, there's all this pipe along the highway, does that mean that they're gonna start doing our water line?
That means the pipe is being hauled in for it, yes.
Excellent, great, good job. And finally, I have people trying to ask me if they can do my lawn. And it's really beautiful to see that kind of support for seniors who can barely walk, but when you're older, you try to do things so you don't lose all your capacity. So I had cut a limb off one of my trees and I put it in on the sidewalk. I was going to get it, and somebody picked it up, and I think that was a city worker, and I wanna just, what's the word, I'm running out of vocabulary, but that was really excellent, really nice that they picked it up. I could have gotten on my pickup, but I didn't have to ask. You got some great people here working in the city, even though when you call the office, they give you a hard time and don't like your jokes. Sorry. And that's pretty much it.
All
So,
right, thank you, Mike, for representing us there also.
sorry, what?
Yeah, for representing us there also.
Well, that's the least I can do. It's a, tourism, the tourism, in Casper tries to bring events to the city that brings people here from out of the county, and they use motels and go to our restaurants and our stores, and that supports the residents of the County. So at some point, city residents, there's going to be something on the ballot to continue the tax that is put on motel rooms for out-of-state people, and that provides the funding, so events are brought to the event center that bring thousands of people on a weekly basis, which supports our local economy, which is something we need. So anyway, that's, in fact, when I went through the worst time of my life, which was not working derricks, that was great, was studying economics. There was a regional economy on the computer, and in every single state, county that was studied in this country, tourism is always the second biggest economic capacity. In our state, it's oil and gas. Our cultural icon is ranching, but economically, it's oil and gas, but then tourism.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, you bet.
All right, we'll still open the floor for any public comment if there's anybody else.
I
Yes,
did have
go
a
ahead.
small comment about the signage conversation earlier. I was supervisor for UPS in Casper for the better part of 7 years. And I know that signage is relatively effective. At the very least, our hub takes it very seriously when we get complaints about it. There's a few signages on our main roads in Casper about sound ordinances and not using your air brakes or your air horn in the middle of residential areas, like Poplar Street specifically. While that is one of our main streets, it passes through some residential areas. And that was a department adjacent to mine. I was in package, but I was over part of our feeders, which is our tractor trailer drivers. And any time that a complaint about that would come in, it did get handled like pretty seriously by our management. So I think that may be definitely a good choice for you guys, the signage.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, any other public comment? All right, may I have a motion for adjournment?
A motion to adjourn it during the meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion this evening? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Thank you. This meeting is over.